You want me to identify myself? You want me to identify myself in relation to food addiction, right?
Sure, you can just go ahead and say, my name is this, and this is who I am, and then I'm gonna just jump in and say like, why are you on the board and that kind of thing.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready, go ahead.
I am ready.
Okay.
My name is Sachir Ajlouni. I am originally from Jordan. Uh, I live in Florida. I lived for a long time in Florida. My family's there. I'm in back and forth between Jordan and Florida. Uh, I am 52 years old, and I'm a food addict,
Okay.
recovered food addict.
Yes. Why are you on the Food Addiction Institute board?
Uh, I have several motives to be, on the board. Well, since I discovered food addiction and compulsive overeating 8 years ago, uh, after a long 32-year battle with weight gain and weight loss, and finally, it was a surprise for me to even hear about food addiction. And if you read my story, or if you ever get a chance to just go in length with it, there's nothing on earth I did not try. Nothing. I mean, I did bariatric surgery. I tied my teeth together. I took every pill, every diet. I went to voodoo witches. I did everything. And I never, ever heard about food addiction, you know? So since I discovered this and found recovery 8 years ago, my mission was to actually educate myself and learn about it. And that's how I got involved, with my mentor Phil and Acorn, and I took the professional courses and all that. So my first real motivation would be is knowledge, being with all these scholars and leaders in their field, you know, uh, doing such a noble cause. That would be my first reason. Uh, my second reason would be I'm a true believer in spreading the knowledge of about food addiction. I'm a true believer of helping others. I mean, every time I remember my suffering, it just motivates me more. Especially in this region of the world, they never heard anything about food addiction in their life. Most of the people here believe they just don't have willpower. Uh, this is a region with high obesity rate, uh, abundance of metabolic diseases, over 50% on average. And I'm talking about the whole MENA region, which is Middle East, North Africa region. Uh, and that is really sad. Uh, this is actually why I am on a mission to spread knowledge. I actually established Aglon Recovery 5 years ago for that purpose. And I give workshops for free. I do intensives and workshops for free. I have a 3-stage program that I give it to everybody for free in this region. So it's, in a nutshell, I want to learn and I want to teach everybody here about food addiction.
Oh, I love that. And it sounds like food addiction has impacted your life for quite a while. How old do you think you were when it started for you?
Uh, when it started, or how it impacted my life, or both.
Yeah. When did it start? And then how did that play
Okay.
out for you? Yeah.
Well, I actually it I when I actually do the workshops and I tell my story for years, I used to say it started at the age of 18 because that's when the weight started to appear. But now I know after I got recovery that my problem, my addiction started in a much earlier stage in my life. And honestly, I think it started when I was 5 months old because my grandmother was feeding me solid food, at that age because, uh, she thought Gerber didn't fit, the criteria. By age 9, I was hooked. By age 7, I would say I was enjoying food more than I should. By age 9, I was hooked and started using food. And I literally remember those moments, and I remember the stories. So I think it was a late stage. Now, I reached my late stage addiction, okay, after my bariatric surgery. And I was at age 35. And I really could tell you how that progressed. And the surgery fast tracked my addiction progression, keeping in mind that at that time I had no clue about food addiction. This is, going back and thinking about it as we know recovery now, you know, that's how early it started, in my opinion. This impacted my life in many ways. But I consider myself from, the lucky ones. When I explain to people also in the workshop about, the different people with pain, I say there's three types of people that, how they deal with pain. Those you look in their face and you just see the pain. They feel the pain and it's just there. Those who feel the pain and they mask it and they, put that on, show it. And those like me, that has pain but doesn't know it's there. So really, my denial worked very well for me, over the years. There's moments that I would feel bad, but I was one of those big people that just had fun, But now, later as I started my recovery journey, I was in my 40s, you know, uh, you know, and people wouldn't see, how we just mask ourselves, At my 40s, I was a happy husband, a proud father, very successful professional with a lot of accomplishments and recognition. Life was good, you know? But under the surface, and I started to recover, it wasn't good at all. I weighed 450 pounds. I took 12 pills a day. I had any disease you could think of: gout, hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterol, everything. I had everything. And, that I at that stage, I have developed bulimia, and had dependency on laxatives, and I was compulsively exercising. I mean, nobody would suspect the torment that was hiding behind my smile, you know. Uh, but my 32-year-long battle with food and weight exhausted me. Just, and at that stage, honestly, I just gave up, and I was trying to just, let me live. Let me just, let me die early. It's fine. After you tried everything, you just give up on that. Now, I lost my health, and my health was, I'm going to say the first thing that kind of maybe gave me that wake up call, because I was always strong, I was always athletic, but then when my legs stopped, carrying me, that was a major problem. My obsession with food and to live with it was just, it was bad. It was the physical and emotional anguish, the confusion that comes with that is just gets to you. And that two sides. So I really lost my health. When I did my bariatric surgery, my heart stopped twice. They had it was a 4-hour thing back in 2000, and it stopped twice. I died. Literally, I flattened out 2 times. Uh, I put my family through hell. My wife, my kids. My dad is one of the top endocrinologists in the world. And he looks at me every day and sees me killing myself, and it just killed him. Uh, I know for a fact, and I could just say this: if I have not found recovery, I would have lost all what's dear to me: my life, my marriage, my children, and my self-worth. And I thank God for my recovery. It's my most precious accomplishment.
What an amazing story. And speaking of your recovery then, what do you do every day for your recovery? Because it sounds like you have realized how much you have to lose, and here you are, and look at the smile on your face, and I'm just thinking you must be doing something every day to maintain this level of joy. What do you do?
All right. Now, I have several tools, okay? But my main tool that's been keeping me in recovery for 8 years now is the service I give through my 3-stage program, Ajlouni Recovery. Now, I do this not full time. I work. I'm a CEO of a company. I'm an engineer. I'm 2 engineers. So, but I find the time to actually, do this. And I run and do this. So that is, I would say, one of the major tools in my life. And I don't get tired. I just love doing it, honestly. And later on, I'll tell you more about how we do it here because it's very intense, honestly. So that's the main thing. My daily support tools, and that's also something that's very important. I mean, I wake up in the morning around 5:30 a.m. I start my day with a small prayer. In it, I just thank my God for my recovery and all His blessings. That's how I start my day. Then I'm always reading and educating myself. So I have like 7 books open, they're food addiction related. They're probably, some psychology, some, how you get sucked into these things. And now, with everything we hear from everybody, oh, let me get that book. So I have like a whole room of books. So usually I'm reading something. Then I take the moment and I write a check-in for me. Now, my check-ins usually is a reflection of either a topic that I've been teaching or I'm interested in, or it caught my attention. So that first draft of it is mine, So I write, for example, about denial. I write about hope. That's one for me. Then I write another one. We have something called the Daily Rock, and I that's a paragraph of support to the people I'm helping. So usually I have the groups of support. So in the morning they have to read this and reflect on it. So I write that for them also, and I post it on the groups, the Daily Rock paragraph. And then I check on my group status and see if I, can help somebody, support somebody if they need it. We kind of have a system, so I have a lot of people helping. Then I hit the gym to get my mood right. These are my tools of recovery. Twice a week I do breathing, and twice a week I give lectures to my stage 2 groups and lectures to my new stage 1 groups. I attend my personal meetings, if there's a meeting, that is for me. I continuously work on education on the topic by taking courses and attending seminars. I still log my food. I still, do the basics. I still weigh my food and measure, you know. Uh, and I just, it's my second nature. Everything, it sounds like a lot, but it's my life and I love it and I will not trade it for anything.
Oh, goodness, that's amazing. And so hearing all that and knowing that you run this program, as service work in your free time, so to speak, what are your hopes for the future of food addiction treatment and recovery?
Oh, many. Well, first, I'm hoping the medical community acknowledge it as a disease, honestly. And actually directs people to, that kind of treatment, rather just keep hitting people in a brick wall. Because, I never recommend surgery to anybody. I did it, I went through it. And if you don't change your behavior, it's never going to work. And here, they just do surgery. They don't even have a clue what happens. Actually, in 2017, I got I mean, I'm personally working on that here because also I have a, you know, a broader vision for the Food Addiction Institute. In 2017, I brought Phil, and he gave a lecture about food addiction to over 60 endocrinologists, doctors here. They were very impressed, very interested. Until this day, they actually call me, ask me, attend even my workshops, and refer patients to me, you know, to help. So, you know, that's what I hope, you know, will happen in the future as far as, you know, you know, the FA treatment.
Yeah. So what role do you see the Food Addiction Institute playing in the future that you hope for?
I hope, honestly, it becomes a formal leader and regulator for the food addiction professionals worldwide, or profession in general. Looking at the different methodologies and the approaches, uh, you know, it needs, you know, an umbrella, honestly, to kind of put it in perspective. This is a global epidemic, so it cannot stay scattered. And I think this is the body that needs to actually take it under its wing.
Okay. So how does the Food Addiction Institute currently, how do they contribute to the advancement of food addiction treatment and recovery?
Well, that's a big question. Well, first, let me just say a couple of things. I don't think there is one solution or one method, okay, to treat food addiction. You know, there's a general one that we all know, but for long-term recovery, it has to be individualized, you know, and not only on the level of the person, but also cultures are very different, honestly. Like the culture here is very challenging. Like, I cannot use the word addiction. Okay. So it has to fit the culture and the customs and the tools available within where it is. Thus, I think the Food Addiction Institute should review and approve the different approaches, utilize the different experiences, you know, in the future, you know, and what's happening in the past, and evolve of a more structured training, honestly, for professionals, and adopting different treatment approaches that are in line with the science of food addiction treatment and the experience of those who have been doing it for a long time. It should really, the FIA should lead a global strategy in fighting food addiction.
Oh, thank you so much. I love everything you have to say. And because I'm curious, I want to hear about your program if you're willing to share.
Oh, sure, absolutely, absolutely. Actually, we're gonna actually do an, in fact, a presentation about it, but I'll give you a brief about it. Uh,
Okay.
First, you know, the thing is, so you understand, in the Middle East, there is, well, there is OA, there's AA, but it's like it's underground, and all the OA people left the OA and came to me because they couldn't keep it up. And you know how, I don't know if you ever, you were in OA, right? I mean, you do, you know how,
Yes. Yep.
yeah. So in this culture, it just doesn't work. It doesn't, it's not, you know, it's, you know, because also there's a lot of restrictions and there's no support whatsoever, you know, here. And there's no knowledge. Like the first time I heard food addiction, I was like, what? And you know what? I live 25 minutes from Acorn. I lived there for 10 years and I never heard about it. So anyway, so I kind of over the years, and it started with what I learned. Actually, I took from Acorn the professional training, the food addiction professional training. And now I'm almost done with the InFact training with Esther. And I've been working very close with Phil. So even when I was evolving it, because you know I have a lot of controversial issues. So I say, well, I kind of I use different names. I don't tell them about addiction. I don't even brand them as addicts. You know, And I do that later if it proves that they're addicts. But at the beginning, it's enough for me that they say, we have a problem with food. And I was telling Phil, I said, I rather not tell them they're an addict. I just ask them, uh, tell me how you are normal. And they just need to tell me that, well, no, that, and that does it, we're not normal. So basically my program is 3 stages. The first stage is 90 days, and we call it the detox stage. And I start with a 3-day workshop. Now in the workshop, now I'm bringing people that do not know anything about food addiction. They think they came to a diet club. Now I have a very long waiting list, okay, and I'm pretty famous in my country, so they like look at me and like, I'll send you. I don't know if you have WhatsApp, but if you have WhatsApp, I'll send you some of my pictures. I'll show you and see what I do, and I'll send you some information about the program also. So they come and I tell them that this is not a diet. I'm gonna help you lose weight, but it's not a diet. Actually, the least effective tool in my program is called the stupid food plan. So so I kind of educate them. It starts the objective of the workshop is to break their denial, so what is in the back of my head. So we start with them, and this is a culture that they don't want to share. They don't want to sit in a room together. They don't want to even, they're very private, So I put them in the room together, and they start, they say their story, that breaks the ice a little bit. And then, I tell them my story. I tell my story over 32 years, and I tell them how I found recovery. And then we start, we start the workshop. This usually takes half the day of the workshop. And then we start educating them about the disease. And I have lectures, they're PowerPoints, and they're very interactive. And I kind of have also adopted this new thing, because I have to tell them there's 2 roads. There's the road of relapse that leads to death, the late stage addiction, but I don't say that. And then the road of recovery, so you're on a U-turn coming back. And and I tell them, I believe in total recovery. Just do what I do. So we give the lectures. In the lectures over the 3 days, we cover the different types of food. The normal eater, and I have added a lot of easier terms to it. So there's a scientific one, and then I just put different ones. Food users, food abusers, normal with bad habits. So just so they build up. Then I talk a little bit about addiction. Then I show them the addiction process, with a couple of videos of how it works with the brain, the reward system, and then we talk about denial. That's a whole workshop about denial. I explain it, how it works, how it affects you, what's stopping you from recovering, and my presentations, most of them are me, what happened to me. So it's easy for them to relate to them, So by the 3rd day of the workshop, they just have an idea about what's happening. And in the last day, it's about the food and how it affects you, the sugar, the fat, caffeine, the alcohol, whatever, they kind of get it. Now, during the workshop, they start detoxing from sugar and flour. Now, I have the luxury here. It is a program of attraction, but it's free. So you have to listen to me or kick you out. And so and that's the rules. So I have like a non-negotiable rules that I'll also send you. I'll send you all the information just so you take a look at it. And they have to do it. So in 3 days, they're already going through the detox, no food plan, just sugar and flour. And the whole objective of stage 2 is to finish 90 days of detoxification from sugar and flour and ultra processed foods. And some people that are not severe cases, most of them are like that, they follow a food plan. Now we have a support system that is unbelievable. It's 24/7. So basically, I put, so I just did a workshop 2 weeks ago. Now the big work, big work, big waiting list. I had like almost 200 people on the waiting list, and what I did, I didn't want to, delay it, and because now I do it with Zoom, I don't have to do it in person. When it was in person, uh, I only could take up to 14, in a workshop. So now I in this workshop I took 65. Yes, 65 people, 7 different countries, Molly. So it's like Jordan, Dubai, Egypt. I had people in the UK. I had people in South Africa, and I also had a couple in Switzerland. You know, so in Zoom it's different. So when they finish the workshop, we kind of give them the basic food plan they follow. Now I divide them into the WhatsApp groups, and the WhatsApp groups have 25 people. Now, in my structure, I also have a head coach, which is a sponsor, in other words, but we call it coach, and 2 assistants. And these are people that have found recovery through my program. So I'm training a lot of people. You met Muna, I think, right? Yeah, Muna works with me. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, and so I have like somebody responsible for this group, and basically now the group, this is kind of an equivalent of a sponsor or maybe a one-to-one. So in this group, they ask all the questions they're going to answer. They have to check in the morning, and the format that we put. Hi, my name is X, and I have a problem with food at the beginning till they get to understand it. I am powerless. Because during the workshop they do their secrets, they do trigger list. I am powerless over and I'm feeling and whatever they want to share. But this is mandatory. They cannot not check in. I also during detox make them fill a food diary. In the food diary, there's the food, and there is also some emotional inventory questions. And are you having cravings, whatever it is. Now that's a very important tool because that tells me what triggers them, how to develop their food plan, and so on. So we finish with that, and they start. And now for the next 12 weeks, there is a knowledge lecture every week. That's the meeting. So like yesterday, their first knowledge meeting was about biology, the effect of biology on your recovery. So I talk about the fat cells and how they multiply and how they're sitting there waiting, to get filled. And I talk about the different hormones. I mean, I have the whole lecture, and we keep doing it for 90 days. That's and by that time they detox completely. Now, usually, if somebody is just a normal eater with bad habits, that's enough for them. But now if he has other problems, you eliminated, that's what I do. You eliminated that physical part. And they move to stage 2. Now in stage 2, now and I give them a weight loss objective. Okay, so I tell them, well, it's the beginning of stage 2 will be, now you're going to stay in stage 2 till you lose 80% of whatever weight you want to lose and keep it off for 6 months. Okay. And now during this time, it becomes more one-to-one. So now we start identifying and screening the people. We know them early 90 days. So we know this guy is a binge eater. This guy is a compulsive eater. This guy is a food addict. This guy is is an emotional eater. And now I start customizing their treatment here. The knowledge continues, but it gets deeper. So now we start talking about emotional triggers. We start talking about behavior. We start talking about changing your thinking and so on. So this continues. Now, people realize at this stage that this is not about the weight at all. But, I have to just give them what they want so they get motivated to do it. So in this stage, once they finish that, we move actually, And this is where we remove the issues. What's blocking them from recovery? What's blocking their growth? All that. This is where we do this. And this could take a year for some people. Now, in the third final stage, how to stay recovered, which basically by this time, people have went through a lot and they're just there. Now, we have a really good, support system that helps us do that. So, for example, we just make sure at all stages they don't make decisions about their food, and we will make them. And I tell them I don't believe in deprivation. I don't believe in anything permanent. It's just what will fit you, and you will know. So when you know how everything you put in your mouth affects, your whole system, you will stop using it if it harms you. And it's all about finding that balance between the food and the mood and the body and brain chemicals, and so that's how it goes. So it's pretty intense, but it's working.
Right. No, it's lovely. And, and so it sounds like because you have so many people from other countries, because you can do it with Zoom now, are you doing it in English?
Now my material is all in English.
Okay.
All the presentations are in English
Okay.
because I don't have the time to translate them to any other language now. But now
Okay.
I can speak in Arabic.
Mm-hmm.
But most of the people, and I'll send you now in WhatsApp after I add you.
Yeah.
I'll send you, the information. I will actually tell them the presentations are in English, but I could speak in Arabic, and I have the time to translate between both languages. But most people now come and most people here speak good English, so
Okay.
it's fine.
Okay.
Eventually, and if I want to take this to a different level, I have to do it in Arabic.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's just, you said it the other day when you were an infant. Doing it when you want to do it and you're going to do it as a full-time job will take 3 years.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes. It takes a while.
I've been evolving with it and getting it where it is, and it's just I don't have the time to kind of do, and it's a lot, but it's
Yes.
working for now. It's fine. And honestly, Molly, we don't advertise.
No.
We get people. All this is word of mouth.
Yes.
Because there is a vacuum here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And in my stage 2 also, and I was, and this was the agreement with Phil at the beginning before Acorn moved to Shift. Like emotional eaters, I like somebody like Phil to deal with them in that kind of intensive.
Yes.
This is another sensitivity here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so so in the future, I mean, I'm very happy about the networking we're doing now, because there's so much people that need help and so many little people that could provide it.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So now, do you primarily just work with men, or is it men and women, or?
I rarely have men. It's all women.
It's all women. Okay. And how young do you think they come versus how old? Are they across the?
The average age here with the women is 40.
Okay.
I would say.
Okay.
But all ages. I mean, everybody. Now, especially the culture that want to lose weight is different.
Mm-hmm.
But now people know that this works. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we get people from all ages, but most I would say the clients are between 30 and 50. But honestly, at 80-year-olds, I mean, I don't like to deal with people under 18.
Yes. Yeah.
They need very special treatment, and they just don't get it easily, peer pressure. And I think you have to design something really for them. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I do help some, people at that age, but I help them in a different way,
Mm-hmm.
But most of my clients are people that are over 25, I would say.
Yeah. No, this is amazing. Your program sounds amazing. So it's international, it's free. I mean, you have this waiting list that you can take about 65 people on at a time. Like, what don't you do? It's crazy how much you get done in a day just listening to you say all these things. And here you are, it's 7:30, 8 o'clock at night for you. And you seem very energetic still.
Well, I get excited when I talk about this.
Yeah.
I do.
Absolutely.
Well, again, on the long term, if I ever want to do this, and probably this is my passion, and I will do it. But if I'm going to do it for money, uh, I have to do it full time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It not be, you know, running businesses, and I cannot do. If I want to do it, I need to do it right. So
Yes.
actually, I'm planning within the next year, 2 years. I'll
Make a
probably.
shift.
I'm just waiting. I'm waiting till my younger kid finishes school. He's now
Yeah.
finishes first year in Penn State.
Okay.
The other two are
Exciting.
already finished. So that's fine.
Exciting. No, that's exciting. You know, one thing I did think of that I wanted to ask you because it's interesting. So Dr. Vera Tarman and myself just interviewed Zippy. Do you know Zippy from the
Yeah, of course.
FAI? We just interviewed her for Food Junkies, and she was talking a little bit about some of the cultural things that she has to work around too. Specifically around like the Orthodox Jewish traditions, specifically around food and fasting and that kind of thing. Are there specific culture things that you run into, and specifically what are they that you have to help people in your region work around?
Well, now I have to work around their beliefs and their understanding
Mm-hmm.
to achieve recovery and convince them to do what's best for them.
Okay.
So, for example, in our culture, the word addiction is a turnoff because
Mm-hmm.
immediately it's related to drugs
Ah,
and then alcohol. So, if
yeah.
I say you're an addict, they'll just like, we're not an addict. And it's over.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one way. When I designed the program, it was a challenge to figure out how to actually say that you really have a major addiction on sugar without saying it.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So that's it. And I managed. I actually now I do it. I use very clever words in it. You know, we have a problem with food. That's enough for me. It's enough for me to get you in recovery. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, I use the road of recovery, and the
Yes.
road of relapse leads to death.
Yep.
So I use that. That's one major cultural thing. You know, also in
Okay.
this culture, for example, this will be more effective if the workshop would be done like with the one we do in Acorn. They would come in for 4 days, they sleep
Mm-hmm.
here and go. So
Right.
that's not something that is attractive now at this
Mm-hmm.
stage. It will be
Yeah.
it will it's not people will accept it. So we
Yeah.
kind of worked it around to have it, you know, spread out. But then we have a very tight. That's why I have non-negotiable rules. You know,
Yes.
because you could not leave them.
Yeah.
you know,
Yes.
the other thing I would say is the whole concept of food addiction and the spirituality that's related to God.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in our culture, the Christians and the Muslims, surrendering their life to God is an everyday thing, normal. So we don't need to, emphasize that at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even talk about that.
Mm.
Eventually, so I'll tell them you need to surrender, okay, but you need to surrender your willpower about food to me and the coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And this has nothing to do with God because I know every day in the morning you say, yeah, God, here I am. I'll
Yeah.
give myself to you. So that is also another thing. And if especially like when they used to do OA, people will
Mm-hmm.
be sitting there and what the hell is this? They what the hell,
Right.
every time you say higher power, they're like looking, okay, which one? It's like
Oh,
no, it is a major cultural thing. That's why OA
yes.
never works.
Yeah.
OA is perceived as a cult.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm personally, at the beginning, I did the 12 steps a couple of times and I learned a lot from them. I went to OA meetings, I went that approach, but it's not for me.
Yeah.
It's not for me at all. I adopt from it a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but I cannot live my life like that.
Yeah.
And going back to your question about how this should be regulated, but there's a lot of people also in the world that just do really bad work and ruin people's lives. you know,
Yes.
like sponsors
Yes.
specifically. So even now, if I ask somebody to do the 12 steps, I help them choose a sponsor. I
Yes.
stopped giving them to anybody because there's a lot of people out there that just have no clue. They have one way that maybe worked for them, but it's really wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
especially when they're dealing with emotions. You know, when they're dealing with, and the same thing goes also here with life coaches. These are another group that came up now, especially in our region, and most of the people that didn't have anything to do and never did anything in life took a certificate and now they're a life coach. And so, so, so actually, I even tell my people when you start with me, if you're gonna go see anybody, just make sure you tell us. So
Yeah.
you're not, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So those are some of the cultural barriers, and also you have to also stay. You have to be aware of what they can do, what they can't do. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but now with what we do, people love it, accept it, follow it. The success rate, and when I say success rate, I'm saying that people that been on the program and stayed on the program, and if they came to lose weight, they lost weight and kept it for over 2 to 3 years, is over 55%,
Wow.
and that is a high rate.
Yeah.
So even, if I ever even do this for money, I will tell them money back doubled if you follow
Yes.
the steps and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know. So
Yeah.
there's a lot. And again, people. It's not only that. Also in this region, every culture is has its own set of cultural barriers.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And
Mm-hmm.
and but we kind of see them.
Mm-hmm.
We have the base, so we adjust. We adjust. Also, I want to tell you, the majority of my clients are women.
Yeah.
They're women, and well, there's such a serious issue here with the whole addiction thing. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of people that need help.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes. I'm just so grateful that you are doing this work. You are where you are. You're seeing this. You're putting it all together. And oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm so sad that I'm going to miss your InFact presentation on it, but I think I got the gist of it for sure. And definitely we'll exchange WhatsApp information.
I think it's 23rd or 27th. If you can make it, that'll be fine. But listen, there's a lot to them. I'll next time I do an intensive workshop, I'll just tell you, join in anytime.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I'm supposed to be joining Phil for Shift's next one here at the end of February, beginning of March. So that will be awesome to see.
With Phil, you're gonna learn a lot. With me, it's just fun.
Yeah. I'm
You know,
happy to have fun. I want to come. Yeah, absolutely. Please do invite me and I will be I will be there. This has been so nice to get to know you a little more and to be able to record this, and I'll make sure that you have a link to it as well.
thank you.
And then obviously you'll be able to see the finished product when that is all said and done, but you were the first of the interviews in this little mini series,
And you
so
know
I
what I did
appreciate
this
that.
time with the 65 people?
Yeah.
I made each one of them, donate $10 for the Food Addiction Institute.
Oh, look at that. That was amazing.
Of course.
That's such a good idea.
Yeah, I just, I told them, I do this for free, but if you want to do it for a good cause, you could donate. And of course they
Yeah.
did. They did.
Oh,
Nobody said no.
that's lovely. Oh my goodness, that's lovely. Wow.
I
Wow.
even told them, whatever you guys get, I'll match it.
What? Wow. That's
I,
amazing.
I want them to understand this is much bigger than a diet. This is
Mm-hmm.
here. Also, another problem is the idiot nutritions that are here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry to say that, but it's really wrong.
Yeah.
I know them all. I've been to them all. But
Sure. Right. Yes. Yes. Yeah. You know what they're going to say. You know what information
here,
they teach from.
have a free day. Have a cake.
Oh
Get out.
Lord. Yeah. No. Like my brain was just like, what? You mean the whole pan? I can have it. That's mine. Awesome. Right. Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. I will let you get on with
Thank
the
you.
rest of your evening. You're probably
Thank you very
exhausted
much.
now. Yeah, you're welcome. And
Well, actually, no. My wife is in Florida. She's gonna now. She's gonna call me, and I
oh
have
no, she's gonna call you. Okay.
now
So,
my day starts.
oh, sure. I love it. Well, thank you so much. And I will, I think you gave me your WhatsApp number and that email. And so I will connect with you.
Sure. Great. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Yeah,
Thank
if you
you.
need anything at all, just let me know. Okay.
I will. Thank you so much. We'll talk
All right.
soon. Okay.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.